Hello, welcome back to my channel, Literary Lauren. Today we are going to try to tackle as many of the series that are sitting on my physical TBR as we can. In this here little sandstone pot, I have written down all the series that I have on those shelves, whether they're a complete series that are just sat there, whether it's the first book of the series and it's our audition to the series to see if I buy the rest of them and continue, or whether it's a book series that I need to progress in. It is all here. I think it's above 20, which is a lot for the books I have on my shelves there. I am notorious for buying a complete series and reading the first one and losing interest, or just not reading the series at all, knowing that I have them all there and not finishing them. I'm just so bad at that. So without further ado, let's get into our first pick. We are going to go with this one. This way is the right way. Can you see what that is? I don't know if it's going to be in focus. Oh, I'm going to be honest with you, I contemplated cheating because Ninth House just feels very daunting. But our first pick is Ninth House. I am in the mood for some dark fantasy, so hopefully that will work in my favor. I did pick this book up a very, very long time ago. Hopefully this video will force us to read it. I am going to, at this point, reserve the right to only read the first book. So I just clocked over 25% of the way through Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, and I thought I would check in with you and give you a rough synopsis of this book. We follow Alex Stern, and she has always been able to see ghosts, and it seems that she is the only person who is able to do so without the help of this magical elixir. She has been brought into Yale to be the newest kind of apprentice of the Ninth House. The Ninth House looks over and kind of takes care of the 8 other secret societies that deal with magic and divination and that sort of thing, and ensure that the human world is safe from the veil, is what they call it. Her teacher, as part of the Ninth House, is Darlington, and he has seemingly gone missing. We're following 2 different timelines. The present day, where there is a murder and Alex is trying to find answers, and she is not accepting what the police and what her higher ups are telling her about it. She is trying to investigate this murder to get to the root cause of everything that's happening. And then we go back to last fall, where Darlington is just starting to teach her everything about the Ninth House and all the magic that she can use to ensure that the human realm is kept safe. I'm really loving how this dual timeline is happening, because each timeline bleeds into the next. We'll learn something in the past, but then that teaching is then brought into the present, and I'm just finding that it's flipping between the 2 really seamlessly. It doesn't feel like we're getting 2 different timelines. It feels very seamless. It took me a little while to get into it. I think this is the first physical book that I've read in maybe 2 weeks, so it was weird to not have a Kindle in front of me, and it's a bit daunting because it is such a thick book, but I am really liking it. This is what I wish The Cloisters was. Gothic setup, a little bit of magic, but this one is definitely a bit more magical and fantastical, given that Alex can see ghosts. If it ends up in this trajectory, I'm definitely going to pick up the second book in this video, because it would be amazing to have this series done, but also I'm very much enjoying it so far. I do want to try and get to halfway. I love the cover. I did my nails to match. The greys don't really match, but I thought dark nails should be suits a dark academia book. I am liking the dark academia aspects of it. I don't know, it's just kind of my cup of tea in all facets. It's gothic, it's dark academia, it's kind of spooky. I haven't made it to the halfway point because I was just too excited. I had to check in with you. I am almost there. This is exactly what I thought and what I wanted from this book. I'm loving it. We are having some questions about desire. It's gothic. So many mentions of the uncanny. Basically anything that is to do with the magical. So the greys, which are the ghosts, the spells that they do, it's all referred to as the uncanny, and it's just perfect. This gothic setup is what I wanted. The characters are exactly what I wanted. It's very dark. It's a hard book to get through, if that makes sense. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, so please make sure that you check the trigger warnings before you're going into this, because we do touch on some very heavy things, but it's written so beautifully and treated with respect. You can just tell that Leigh Bardugo is a writer. She does this all day, every day. The craft is just like oozing out of this book. So many passages have made me like just want to underline and stuff, but I didn't know if I wanted to annotate this book, and now I'm like, one day I'm going to have to reread this book and annotate it. That's where we're sitting at. It's sitting on a 4 at the moment. Depending on how it closes, it could climb up, it could stay where it is, but it's such a solid book. I'm so glad that we picked this up for this video and that I'm finally getting to this series. I think I looked the other day, I think it came out in 2019, which is absolutely diabolical that I haven't read it yet. Let's have a look. Yeah, it came out in 2019. And I purchased it, I think, as soon as it came out because I was a Six of Crows girly. I still haven't read the 3rd book in the Shadow and Bone series. I am of the opinion that the Shadow and Bone show, may it rest in peace. I listened to a podcast that Leigh Bardugo did. Shadow and Bone was like the first book that she wrote in its entirety. And it was picked up and had the amount of success that it did, which is a testament to how good a writer she is. But you can tell this was her, I think, adult debut. These are things that people have been saying since 2019. So in no way am I bringing a new conversation to this book, but I just love it. I really like it. There were like the subtlest of hints towards things, very referential. There was a moment of like Orpheus and Eurydice, and I'm going to see Hades Town tomorrow. He'd read enough stories to know you never looked back on your way out of hell. Did you want to tell Orpheus that? Anyway, I'm just rambling at this point because I wanted to check in with you because I just wanted to say I'm liking it. The whole a bit hard to get into thing has very much passed, but I wish the chapters were a little bit shorter. I need like a more milestones. I'm up to chapter 11 and I've read almost 180 something pages. So that feels like there's not enough chapters. I like short chapters, thank you. Very much vibing with this. I'm going to go tuck into bed and dive in a little bit more, and hopefully we might actually get to the halfway point tonight. It's like past midnight and I've only got 10 pages left. What is happening? This is crazy. This is crazy. I literally just woke up, so please excuse my disheveled appearance, but I, at about 1 or 2 a.m. last night, finished Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Oh my god, is all I have to say. That ending was insane. Like, truly, you'll probably see a change in my demeanor towards this book because the first 250 pages, not a drag, but hard to get into and hard to connect with characters and storyline because there's so much going on, and you can tell that Leigh Bardugo was trying to lay the groundwork for bigger reveals later down the line. So that was a little bit hard to get into, but then you get to the last 200 pages and you're like smacked in the face with 5 million different reveals. So I think I'm giving this a 4 stars just because I wasn't as invested in the first half of the second half. I loved it. And because I liked it so much, the next book of this video is just going to be reading Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo, the second book in the series, because I like to binge series, and although the 3rd one's not out, I feel confident that we might get book news around this year for next year, possibly. So we'll have to see how we go, but because this is the second book in the series, we will have 1 series less on our TBR. I'm gonna start Hellbent. Yeah, life. Okay, I just finished a bunch of freelance work and it took me hours, but I eventually got to the final product that I was hoping for. I am about to get stuck into Hellbent again because I found myself thinking about these characters so much. I saw on TikTok, and I'm sorry, I don't know if this is spoilers because I don't feel as though I'm spoiled or anything. I'm going to be very vague when describing the comparison that was made to this book, but I saw a TikTok saying that the relationship between Darlington, the mailman character that has gone missing, and Alex, that they are like Orpheus and Eurydice reversed. I'm not going to explain the plot of the Orpheus and Eurydice tale, so if you want to find out more about that character dynamic, you can go do that in your own time, but I can't help but just be a little bit excited. I watched Hades Town, I'm not joking, 2 days ago. I went with my mum to watch the Australian cast at Theatre Royal Sydney, and oh my god, I bawled my eyes out. For one, I have a CD collection in my car and they had the CD version of the original soundtrack, so now I can listen to the Broadway cast every time I'm driving around in my car. But the Alex Stern series being compared to that Greek myth, it's making me even more excited to dive into this one because I was sitting in the theatre thinking, what am I going to fill the void with? And it's been pure coincidence that I've picked up a book series that can be likened to the tale, if not like a role gender reversal type thing. I'm about to dive straight back into this book because I can't help myself. And yeah, I'll check in when I'm about 25% in next. I have just gotten ready for the night, and over the past couple of hours, I have gotten 150 pages into Hellbent. I am really liking it. This one I find so much more enthralling to start off with than the first one. I think because we went into this book knowing the intention of what the book was going to be about, but then we're still getting little hits of the murder mystery vibes that the first book was giving. I kind of just want to keep diving into it to learn more because there's so much that could go wrong in this book, and I just want everyone to be okay. I will see you most likely tomorrow. Maybe I'll be halfway into this book. I've only got like 120 pages per quarter, so if I read 100 pages, then I will be well and truly halfway through the book. We'll see how we go. I cannot remember when the last time I spoke to you was, so I'm very sorry if it's been a bit of a time jump, but I just finished Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo, and I'm giving it 4 stars. It was pretty good. Kind of lost me towards the end. I was losing interest, but all round a really good read. I think it would have been more successful if I'd read it like in one go, but because I've been working the last couple days, it was hard to sit down and fully binge it. I was kind of grabbing pieces of time to finish this book, but I ended up finishing it this morning and I really liked it. I'm excited for the next book, but I'm at a place where I'm not upset that we don't have a date yet. I will read the next book, but I'm not like, oh my god, I need it right now. So overall, I think this was a successful read, but it's not going to be like hands down favorite series of all time, but I am very much enjoying the story. And I'm excited to know what our characters get up to in the next book in the series, whenever that does come out. So far we have had 2 4-star reads in this video. I think we have time to pick at least maybe one more for this here video. Please also excuse my nails. I am in the process of peeling them off because I'm going to be redoing my nails later today, so they are looking a little bit grubby, but I wanted to steal a moment before I get ready for the gym to film this little clip. Again, we have all the series that I have on my physical TBR that need to be read in this here little jar. I'm going to pick one out at random at the very bottom. Oh, this is exciting. So the series that we have chosen is an absolutely remarkable thing. And there's going to be a little bit of a spin on this because I read the first book years and years and years ago, probably when it first came out. They're actually right here, so I'm just going to grab them. I have forgotten so much of it. I remember the general premise, but in order to read the second book and to properly enjoy it, I'm going to reread the first one in an attempt to fully grasp the second one. So I am going to dive back into this one, and then we'll finish the duology in this video, and then we'll have finished 2 sets of 2 books that we need to finish in this series. I only remember that the Carls, which were like these little robot things, just showed up on people's doorsteps, and they weren't completely touching the ground, but it like sparked this massive social media. It's kind of a cautionary tale against fame and what fame can do to people, sort of thing. So I'm excited to get into something light and fun and returning to a world that Hank Green has created. I know it's going to be a good time. So I'm going to get stuck into this, and I will update you on my thoughts of my reread of an absolutely remarkable thing. So I finished an absolutely remarkable thing not even 5 seconds ago. Truly, I just turned this on and started recording because, wow. I didn't really film or check in with you much while I was reading this because it was a reread. I thought I might as well just get through this super quickly so then we can jump into the next book. I don't know how I didn't pick up the next book immediately when I got it because this ends on a cliffhanger that I got goosebumps. It was such a good ending. I don't know if I explained what this book was about when I picked it out of the TBR jar. In the early hours of a morning in New York, April May calls one of her best friends and she discovers or happens across this giant sculpture in the middle of the road, and they make a YouTube video about it and they go viral. Little do they know that these sculptures or robots or whatever they are have turned up in every major city in the world. This book is such an amazing, speculative and intense critique of fame, social media, and the dangers of being polarizing or inflammatory. I thought it was a very interesting example of how a sculpture that was literally sitting on the road can be turned into something political, and how so many things become political because of the people that talk about them and because of the stances that people have against them. April May is a character that you know pretty much from the first page. The voice is so rich and it carries throughout the whole thing. I had forgotten that it was like a recount of events past. So we kind of have a hint at what transpired towards the end of the book. It's hinted at very frequently throughout this book, and you're constantly reminded that this is being told after all of the events have happened, after everything's gone down. We know that the people that are talking are going to be okay because, I mean, they're recounting the story in very much their own authentic words, and we know that we're like leading up to this day and these events. I very much love this book. It still remains a 5 stars, even though it's been, 7 years since I read it? When did this first come out? Yeah, it's been about 7 years since I read this book for the first time. I am so excited that I am going to be picking up A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor tomorrow. I'm not waiting another day. It is I don't have a watch on. It is currently probably almost midnight by now, and I need to sleep. So we will be diving into this one tomorrow. But I just don't know how I didn't jump into this book straight away. Only took me 7 years, but we're here. Without further ado, I'm going to go to sleep, and I will see you tomorrow. It has been a fair few days since I last checked in with you, and that is because I have been working. I haven't really gotten any time to read, but I am reading A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor by Hank Green. I feel like I'm about just over 50 pages in, and I'm really liking it so far. So many of the points that Hank Green makes in this book, they're so poignant, and they just question or observe humanity in really amazing, beautiful ways. So I am so excited to get stuck into that book. I am about to go on a little breakfast by myself, and I'm going to take that book with me, and we are going to just sit and read for a little bit before I have to get into my day of freelance work. Anyway, I'm going to go get on the road, go to my favorite cafe, the Little Olive, and we are going to read this book. Guys, I have read 160 pages of A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor by Hank Green. Why did I not read this sooner? I'm obsessed with it. It is hurtling towards a 5 or 6 star read. It's meta. It's so interesting. We hear from other characters in the story. Whoa. Apparently my phone is excited too. Stick. Anyway, as I was saying, we are hearing from other people within April's orbit, and we're getting the story from their perspective, but is still self-referential in that this is the book of their life, so we know that it's happening in the future, so we know that they're at least okay, or their subconscious is at least okay. Who knows? It's still speculative. It's still a little bit like spooky what's going to happen vibes. There's a book within a book element that is also meta, talking about their lives. I'm obsessed with it. It's kind of a book within a book within a book, because we're getting the book, but then they're writing the book about their lives, and they're it's meta in that it's self-referential, that they're talking about the fact that this is a book, but then there's also a book within a book. Can you tell I'm loving it? This is going to be such a successful read, and I have read over 100 pages today. I just know that this is going to be a 5 or 6 star read. I don't know why it's taken me this long to read this book. I really wish I could hold past Lauren's hand when I say that this book ended up being either a 3.75 or a 4 star read. Yeah, it just lost me towards the end, which is really disappointing. What I loved about the first book was that the conversations that we were having about social media and everything, it felt very real world. It felt very applicable to everything, even though TikTok wasn't used back when the book was written. It felt that you could apply it to everything. Whereas this one, I don't think we've seen anything like this, because, not to give spoilers, but there is a virtual reality element to this book that just takes it a little bit of a step further into the speculative element, which made it feel unrealistic to me. And the ending was like a bit of espionage that I don't think felt true to the speculative conversations that it was pointing at, which I think the first half of this book did very well. It was very meta and
poked at different conversations surrounding class and access. But then once we entered the virtual reality, it was like, oh, okay. And it did have conversations about agency and autonomy that I liked, but at the same time, I don't know how I feel about it. So it was a little bit disappointing in that respect, but I think it was still a successful book. I think it just didn't do what I expected it to do, and it pushed the limits on reality just a little bit too much. This felt a little bit disjointed because the first book we could apply to so many different situations, and the commentary applied to so many different things, that this book then went into a realm that was like, this is unprecedented. We haven't seen something like this yet. Just didn't give the 5 or 6 stars that I was hoping that it would. The setup of the book definitely did, but the ending, I kind of lost interest. I was forcing myself to pick this up for this video. So not the success that I hoped that it would be, but the video concept itself has been extremely successful because we have gotten through 2 book series within a week, kind of a week and a half. We finished the 9th House Alex Stern series that have been sitting on my shelves since their release, and we finished an absolutely remarkable thing, duology. So I think overall it was very successful, and yeah, thank you so much for watching and bearing with me and sticking with me. This, just to break the fourth wall a little bit, I'm filming this the day before it goes out, this little outro, but everything else was filmed about a month ago, and it feels like a fever dream, to be honest, looking back at all of this footage. But I'm so glad that I did this because I have so many series just sat on my shelves, and just between you and me, I think I'm in my reading series era because I read these 2 series, and since then I've read 1, 2, and I'm on to my 3rd series, reading it in its entirety. So altogether, that's like 5 series that I've read in a row. I think I do need a break because a standalone is in my very near future because I think my commitment to characters is just waning a little bit, but we'll see how we go in upcoming videos. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I think the next video that you will see will also be a series that I'm finishing, but you will have to wait until next week to see that one. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.